Okay, I think it's 6 o'clock. Can you hear me? Is I smoking? I think. Thank you again for getting the extra mics. I think it's a much better situation than it was last time in terms of people being able to hear and people doing it. I would like to call the meeting to order of Goose Rock's Beach Advisory Committee. This is August 19th. It's block of meeting in person at the Goose Rocks Fire Station. The first thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. They were circulated. Are there any comments, corrections, or motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. I think I'd just like to go across quickly and just have each person introduce themselves to Kate through just going up to it and to wait. That's the general ready to go.
Start the light bulb.
It's on subject. Careful. Fighting. There. Hello? Okay. Hello? Hi, I'm Kate Bauer-Burke. I am the at-large member of the committee. Thank you very much. I'm Carol Sherwin.
Bill Junker. John Dykstra, Select Board Rep.
I'm Cam Sikansky, Chair.
I'm Chaz Canwell.
Hi, and I'm Holly Mudge.
Okay, the second item on the agenda is public comment for any items that are not on the agenda. Is there anyone here that would like to address the group that for something that's not on the agenda? Please identify yourself and let us know what you're about.
Hi, I'm Linda Creamer. I'm on, it was the number 832 Kings Highway. The only thing I wanted to bring up, I don't know if it's on the agenda, is a while back you were talking about numbering the houses on the beach side. And it's not happening. So I have a solution, take it or leave it. But I think on all public accesses to the beach, you could label them a letter, A, B, C, D, and then personal access, people from people's homes, could be numbers. That way, the fire or police or whoever, if you give a number of where you are or a letter, they have a better idea of where you are on the beach. So if you numbered it from 1 to however many, and then from A to however many, they have a better idea of where they can send the emergency vehicles. Just an idea.
Thank you. Okay, great. We're going to move on. The next item on the agenda is the election of officers, and I think Joe is in the speak to that.
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead, wait a second.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Pam Sikansky for chair, Kate Bauer-Burke for vice chair, and Holly Mudd the secretary.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Thanks.
Aye. Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to committee reports. I think the first one is public safety, which is Tess.
Sure, thank you very much. Since our last meeting, a couple of things have happened. One is the town finished installing the speed signs you've seen, including on Dyke Road and a new one on westbound Kings Highway at T. Turtle Corners. There's just notes here. The other thing that happened is the select board at the meeting last month decided to take several steps to improve, do some speed calming measures at Dyke Road and Mills Road, including asking the state to install a 45-hour speed signs to get them in a more prominent place so that people might actually see them. And do some better intersection warning signs and add a watch the pedestrian sign up near the campground. Not less people come looking at on that corner. Things the town can do on itself, by itself, are to add some supplementary stop signs on Dyke Road at the median there. And paint stop bars on Goose Rocks Road and Dyke Road. I'll come back to that in a second. And then finally consider a traffic calming demonstration, which could be a kind of temporary like turn lane or other things to make like approximation of a traffic dial. And if that is effective, I guess in time that can be used to support more permanent things, slow people down as they come down that mile-long speedway. This comes because of people's concerns about the speed there. And we had an accident there last Saturday night, kind of with a bicyclist coming northbound on Mills Road, got hit by a car that was pulling out of Dyke. There was no serious injury, but police cars with sirens and ambulances quickly on the scene. And so it just tells us that people are not taking that intersection as seriously as they probably ought to be. So I'm a bicyclist, and for myself, the intersection at New Bedfordville is a challenge too. It doesn't stop. I was asking the police chief about the numbers of enforcement actions that have been taken, and talking about it with him, we discovered that while he was away from the force, especially when the public works department, the data got injured in a funny way, so the numbers are hard to compare. But last year, this time of year, they did county-wide 509 warnings and traffic tickets issued. This year, it's down to 409. He attributes that to the fact that he's down 2 officers this year. Catholic should take them out around the issue of many tickets. But ideally, going ahead, future years will have consistent data that can be much clearer about the level of East Washington. What we don't have is Goose Rock speech cut out of that. I know that on those speed signs we have, you can, there's data that they collect about the time and the speeds that they're recording. So if we had access to that, we could help with the perception. Many of my neighbors have in the way speeding is becoming a big problem. And they just, the speed that is 20 on Kings Highway still feels like 40 when we're 2 feet from the car. And so I think having some actual measures would be helpful. There was another concern that I don't think enough in our public meeting, like dealing with overnight parking in the beach. And so there's a survey done, and John Dyke is going to explain why I think that still.
We asked the chief if he would have his officers, when they make their nightly tour between 3 and 4 in the morning, just count the number of cars that are parked overnight at Goose Rocks. There is no ban on parking at Goose Rocks overnight, and these were the numbers. Now, they were collected in 2 different spatial zones, as you can see. When they were first collected, it was the east end to Jeffries Way, and then Jeffries Way to Dinghy Point, all the way to Dyke Road. So Jeffries all the way to Dyke Road, and then Dyke Road to the west end. And you can see, you can kind of forget the Kings Lane to Jeffrey and the Dyke to the west end. Very few people are about to go around. What we do see, and I think it's telling on the bottom section, is that of the 20 or so cars that can be parked overnight, 2/3 of them, particularly set to 2/3, tend to be between the Kings Lane, and in this case, I'm sure it's just Jeffries Way, to Dinghy Point.
And John, we can't see any of those numbers.
We can't see them? Yeah. Sorry, folks.
That's as good as it gets, sorry.
Yeah. We've got the notes here, and you can see them, but it's in the teens that are parking overnight between, in essence, Jeffries Way and Dinghy Point. And then between Dinghy Point and Dyke Road, there is about a third of that, half to a third of that. And something to keep in mind is that many folks in that section, particularly between Dinghy Point and Dyke Road, have limited parking in their at their homes. And also you think of folks in the back, if you have company, then there's really, if you've got 2 or 3 cars already on your lawn, you need to have a spot to be able to place them. And this is going to be an issue going forward. One thought was that we could just put no parking in at night and it would just solve everything. And in talking to folks, we feel this could create as many problems as it solves. So we're still looking at it. looking at what the possible solution would be. But the issue, what we were trying to solve, and someone might ask, well, why the heck are you doing this? What are you trying to solve? What we're trying to solve is the situation, and we see quite a bit of it, particularly between Jeffrey's Way and Diggy Point, where folks will use their parked car as a beach locker and just kind of leave the car there, take their things to the beach and come back and put them in the car and walk home. Maybe have a second car at home. And what that does is it limits the number of parking for folks that are coming from off the beach. The town residents that want to try to find a place to park to enjoy the beach, these 10 to 15 cars are taking up the 50 or 60 slots that are right there along the beach. So it's an issue. How to handle it, how to best handle it is still an open question. But at least now we have some numbers, we have some idea of where the parking is and what the numbers are.
Okay, thank you, Chaz and Don, for looking at all that. I think we're going to move on to natural resources. I think there's two pieces.
The biggest question.
Oh, sorry, are there any questions? I have one question.
Good.
Okay. We're going to move on to natural resources. I think there's two parts of this. I think Bill has a recording and Carol has an update on the cover, so I'll let you each decide who wants to end first.
I'll start.
Great, thank you.
I don't have much to report on natural resources. I've been doing some private canvassing for people I know, and there's a natural resources subcommittee that Paul had started, so we got together, John Poiter, Paul Billigan, Tom Bradbury, myself, and Mary Ellen O'May, and we just talked through things. But the number one issue on everybody's mind, including a lot of property owners I've spoken to, is the water quality, and perhaps the lack of the availability. Some feel to get the information, they just feel it's tough to get at. I don't feel it is, but you have to go to the Health Institute website to ask for what course there. Particularly water quality.
Is there a link from the town website to get there?
Yeah,
And it's on that town website.
it is. Yeah, but if you want to get all of the river stuff too, you have to go to the Health Institute thing. So there's a lot of people are interested in the water quality coming out of the rivers, and my recommendation has always been for people never to still have low tide anyways, and swim when it's high or on the incoming tide. You have to go in the river, go when the tide's high, not when it's low. So the feeling is, by people that know a lot more than me, is that the bacterial levels probably haven't changed much in 100 years. So it's always been slightly polluted at low tide because it's just the way it drains, and it's always polluted after a heavy rainstorm because everything's washing anyway. So that was water quality seems to be big on people's mind. Paul Hogan and I, at the beginning of August, he said he did it every year, so he wanted to show me what he did, and we walked the stake and twine line and drove in stakes and redid the twine. And I made the comment that there are a lot of people leaving, especially between the tides and Diggy Point, there are a lot of people that are leaving their kayaks on the beach, and that I wouldn't make people move them because they were actually like parallel to the stake and twine. So they actually are creating a barrier for people. You can't even get to the stake and twine because there's kayaks lying. So it's actually, people may not like the kayaks on the beach, but they seem to be helping protect the dunes, at least this year.
Okay.
Paul thought that the new grass had taken for a little while, except in a couple spots. People will notice a lot of other stuff growing, but that's stuff that grows, the wild pea and wild mustard, all that stuff grows anyways. But I was pretty happy. It looked like people were. I tried to walk the beach almost every day. I hadn't done it. Anybody walk the beach today? Did anybody find any difference between yesterday and the day before? It's amazing, isn't it?
Really looked nice.
That really looked nice. It's just totally changed. But the beach profile is totally changed from the waves last night. Totally changed. And if you haven't been down the beach today, and you went down on Saturday and walked the whole beach, you'll be amazed. You've got change. So it will be back. It changes. I'll say I have a couple other notes. Oh, Tom Bradbury just wanted me to mention that that we are the town and the beach advisory committee. Almost everything we're looking at is short term, in geologically, obviously short term, and that the climate initiative, which he started, which is, I believe he says, has educated over 300,000 high school students to Cape, which is dealing with, getting the young people involved, trying to. He wants to see Goose Rocks be enjoyed 500 years from now. We're all thinking 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe 60 years. He's thinking really long, which is, for me, was pretty exciting. And to listen to anyone who knows Tom knows he can be a pretty exciting person to talk to. So, and I hadn't seen it for a while. So that's the. And Carol has some numbers for the Flubbers, I think.
We have good news. The news I have may not have on is outdated, but I'll still tell you what they said. Our season is winding down as summer starts to come to an end. As of today, there are no active flubber nests and only 4 flubber chicks remaining on Main Beach. And Bill said he saw them on our beach, and they're probably ones that are migrating. And they come here and they rest and they feed here as a head stops, like a lot of us. The activity with the least terns, they're still fledging and they have more chicks. I have not seen any least terns on the Rocks Beach this year. The shorebirds are what are coming next. And at Seawall, which is our northern beach, they estimated a total of over 700 shorebirds in one survey. And we don't. If you like birds, the migrating birds are fabulous to watch, and they're on their way. But for the Clapping Flubbers report for 2024, Goose Rocks Beach pledged 28 chicks. That's our best. The best. I've been doing this for 26 years, and that is our best. Gunfoot pledged 21. Wells pledged 37 chicks. Old Orchard Beach pledged 1 chick. The state of Maine pledged a total of 233 chicks in 2024 from all the beaches. In 2023, they pledged 201 chicks. In 2022, they pledged 196 chicks. So the Flubbers are doing very well in spite of our bad tides. And Goose Rocks, we pledged 17 chicks in 2023 and pledged 24 in 2022. I've been told to keep this short, so if anybody wants any more data, I have the data sheets with me. The other thing I wanted to tell people is that on Wednesday, August 28th, at the Graves Library at 9:30, Emily McCormick, who's a shorebird volunteer coordinator through the town of Kennebunkport, will discuss how we can help these migratory shorebirds, and she'll have a presentation on the endangered birds and the migrating birds.
That's great. Thank you very much, Carol and Bill. Are there any questions on natural resources? Very good. Good.
I'm just still a little confused on the water quality and the posting of, the way people find out. And this, I guess, came home to me because this weekend we had some little visitors visiting, and I wanted to send them to the beach. And I was, curious. So we're not using the white signs in the center of the beach, the public beach area. There's nothing, if there's nothing posted there, it's like good to go.
Exactly.
Okay,
It's only toasted when there is a problem.
okay. And either end, because at one point I thought they were going to be going on Jeffrey's Way, and I was immediately who I want them to be very close to the river. So at either end, is there, somebody said a permanent posting somewhere?
Correct.
Okay, because I think a lot of people who just
Swimming
come.
in the river.
Right, the little kids like to do that for their cramps and stuff like that. Okay, so, and otherwise, I mean, for people who come here, just as visitors perhaps, knowing to go to main healthy beaches, I think is probably low in the grass. I mean, maybe I'm wrong on that, maybe I'm not very technical, so for sure. So,
I guess the water quality for the main beach is posted on the town website. So that's going to go to the.
if they go to the town website, though, for most
I
people,
think
they
it's
can.
interested, if they would town, so I'm sorry, so that's the thought.
I guess my thought is that if I came and, again, this is me being done digital. If I came and saw these signs there, But I would never think about going to the town website, to be honest, or to the Name Healthy Beaches website, which I didn't even know existed. If I'm just driven up for a day, or even if I'm relatively new, renting a place or something like that, these are just kind of.
I believe on the signs it's posted to go to the town website. It tells you,
Okay.
it tells you the URL to go to.
Okay.
If you go there, then that also sends you to the state site if you wish more information.
Okay, I'm just thinking, John, I mean, I know that we have trouble getting people that read signs, even though we have a lot of, if you read signs as they go out onto the beach.
And what do you suggest? We could have somebody up there with a
I don't know.
flag waving. I mean, you didn't.
I don't know, I think that's, well, I don't know, it's just a question in my mind about how to be, we have enough trouble getting people to read the signs as they go in, because they're dragging little kids in and all sorts of equipment and stuff like that. So whether it was regard to the dog rules or any other rules, and certainly nobody's paying any attention to the sign about don't dig deep holes, or if you do, fill them in. That is becoming egregious this summer. But that's totally separate from the water quality index. All right.
I'll just add the sign, the URL code is right at every writer. So people can scan that. The URL code is also in the brochure, I think.
The
It's in the old
website,
one.
the website.
Website.
I'm not sure if you look at.
Okay. And that's the thing, I don't think people take the brochures. It doesn't, well, it's hard to case thing, but I mean, if they're interested in getting educated, you would think they would take like, at least a little, the panicking mistake. So that also, the filling in of holes is listed in that short, so.
People are not doing it.
Well, I know, but that's.
People need to swim in the mud.
Basically, with a couple exceptions this year, and that, I don't know if there was things in the problems with the sewer plant or what, but there's the water quality by and large has been, for the main part of the beach has been fine also. Except for one comes.
There are two heads.
Anyway. Any questions?
What would we do if there was a problem? We didn't want people to go notice. Like, what like we do at plan to let people know that? You know, so red flag.
We test twice a week, as according to the Maine Healthy Beach Protocol. If the test comes back above a threshold, is 104 for the undercuffness, then we post a sign, little warning signs put on the large white sign at the public entrances, of all the public entrances. So that's what we do. We've never had a situation where we had to actually close the beach. I mean, that'd be pretty, that's why we say we're polluted. What it means is that long story, that is, yes.
All right. Six. I think the next thing on the agenda is communications on the internet, the hands from you, Sharon.
I don't, but again, if anybody wants to be added to the distribution for the agendas and anything else, come see me after the meeting and I'll grab your email address.
Great, thanks a lot, Molly. I think the next part of the agenda is just old business, and I think I'm going to sort of wrap the two items together that we have on there for John, or as you talk to as a select board, has some upgrades on some of the topic.
Yeah, there was, one issue was brought up at last meeting about folks climbing on the seawalls. And this has been a persistent problem. I did speak with the chief, the police chief, and he has informed all of the CSOs that they are to engage anyone they see climbing on a seawall, a request that they do not do that they get off the seawall. If they refuse for whatever reason, one of those reasons might be that they own the seawall. In that case, they're perfectly fine to climb on the seawall. So if they refuse, though, the CSO will notify the headquarters, and headquarters will send an officer to investigate. If it's someone being ornery, then they'll act appropriately. So I really think about all we can do on it. But thank you for that, and that's now codified with the CSOs that they are to engage anyone that's seen on the scenes. The other is our standing issue on the tides. I'm sounding a bit like a broken record, but I feel, and I'd be curious if anyone who felt it differently, that in terms of the presence on the beach, the tides have been following the rules that were set in terms of the area of the beach in which they can put their chairs, and they are keeping the chaise lounges within a roughly 25-foot area at the upper part of the beach. And it's the smaller upright chairs with umbrellas at times that are beyond that. They're also agreeing to leave at least 15 feet at any time between the top of the water and where the chairs are, so that we won't be in a situation where the water's right up to the chairs and there's just this perceived wall where people are comfortable walking. I've been down a few times, not as many as you all, but if you see, whether you can mention it now or if you ever want to get in touch with me or Spam, if you feel there's been some egregious violations on that. The other issue is Hidden Pond. It's the matter of the number of folks that are coming to the beach through that agreement, and the town is still in dialogue with them. There's been a change in management, so that's kind of working through a little bit the local management of the tides itself. So we're still hopeful that we can reach an agreement. We have a pretty firm idea in the town standpoint of what we'd like to see happen. We're in a little bit of odds, and we'll see where it goes. But it will be resolved one way or the other. So that's kind of the two. Yes.
All right, sorry, I can't show this to everybody. It's just on my phone, but here's an interesting picture about what you just mentioned. It shows,
It shows a drowned umbrella.
yeah,
So that's
the tides umbrella and a couple of chairs actually in the water.
yeah.
So there's no 15 feet.
Well, I missed that. That's for sure.
That was the end of July.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should. I mean, my observation has been, as I walk the beach, that the tides, if you're saying they're staying within the 25-foot, I would say that's not.
No.
Oh, no, okay. So there definitely are plenty of those like yellow things out there. That's fine. And I have, at one point, this was a couple of years ago, I did place my beach chair and everything, and at first one of the beach boys came over and started to ask me to move, and so I had a little bit of, I had a little bit of a discussion with him and said I'd be happy to talk to the manager there and mention the words beach use agreement. So that has not been a problem. In fact, I tend to tell people, guests of ours, to go and sit there because, not to be ornery, but you're also closer to where I think there's still a lot of people coming to use the restrooms there. That's handy, and you've got little kids with you. So that's nice of them to do that. Any other comments or this topic? I think that just about can we get this slide? They're just going to ask about. I didn't hear say anything about. That's an evidence. Just one about commercial activities when the ties engage. Any updates on that?
My understanding, there is no longer any commercial activity serving anyone who is not a, well, again, this is the issue between Hidden Ponds and Dot. But they are only servicing people that are associated with the beach resort. That's the only folks that are being served on the beach. If you have evidence to the contrary, that would be important.
Last year, forward.
Well, last year, yes, no.
Okay.
We've spoken to them about it.
Okay, great.
They understood it, they agreed, and they didn't say that it had happened, but they said if it had happened, it's not something that they condoned, and my understanding is that's no longer occurring. Okay. There is no alcohol brought across the street. They, when they serve food to their patrons, they have to come up and get some food at the stand and take it down to their chairs. So they're working with us. Those elements, I think, are working really well. It's the numbers that are still an issue.
Thank you. Thanks for it. Thank you for the committee reports, old business. I just wanted to ask the committee, is there anything that, and new business anybody wants to bring up? And, but,
Well, this is a plug for as everyone's, a lot of you are aware, the Beach Advisory Committee, along with the town, does a spring fake beach cleanup. The Kennebunkport Rotary Club does a fall beach cleanup in conjunction with the International Coast Cleanup. It used to be weeks, now full month of September. So on September 21st, the Rotary Club is sponsoring another beach cleanup. If anyone wants to write that down and join us, it's never as much stuff as there is in the spring, I can assure you of that. But it's just another chance after the season to walk along the beach and pick up any debris that's been left over, and it's a good cause. And it's the one difference that we document every single item we pick up, and it goes into an international database, which is something, you know, we might consider, even though it's not the International Coast Cleanup. I think about documenting the amount, I mean, the stuff that was taken off the beach last year was astounding. Yeah, I loaded a lot of it in the dumpster, so we filled a 30-yard dumpster in a couple hours.
Yeah.
It was pretty amazing.
what time were you starting in Fleet?
9 o'clock.
Bring it up. Bill, will that involve, take for now, safe and fine?
Well, Paul thinks it could, but he also thinks it might be a little early. But I think if we have enough volunteers, it would be a good time to get that. Yeah. The crowds are gone by the end of September.
Yeah.
So, that's nice.
Sorry, just catching garbage.
Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. I think what I'd like to do now is just adjourn the formal part of the meeting, and then we're going to move on to two presentations we have on the trash transition and then on the town proposal to potential FEMA fundings for the dune restoration. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn the business part of the meeting.
We will adjourn.
Okay, is there a second? Second? Okay, all in favor? Okay, so the official meeting is adjourned. We're going to move on. John, to sign the trash. Do you want us to move this to the other side of the way? So please.
I think just maybe we just pull over a little bit, away from the tables.
Yes.
This is another repeat. I tried to learn from last week, and I put white on black, so maybe this will show up a little bit better. And these don't dim, huh?
As you know.
Can we turn them off?
Yeah, you can turn them off. I can't figure those switches out anyway.
Yes, you go to sleep. I think that we're on this.
There you go.
All right. So, what I thought I'd do is just put this into the 5 W's. Remember that from your journalism days, the who, what, where, when, and why of our automated trash. So the who, it's the first slide, and that's pretty short. It is Casella. You know that Casella are the folks that have been doing our trash for years. We have a 5-year contract with them. That contract ends the end of this month. So those 5 years went all the way through COVID. And you can imagine, and the prices did not escalate. They were fixed. So you can think back 5 years ago of what prices were for labor, for the trucks, for the material, for gas. And think about where we are today, and you'll understand why the new contract was almost a 40% increase in cost. And even though we were going to be automated. And it's also what's forced Casella to go automated. So it gives you some idea of what the town was looking at in terms of that cost inflation with the new contract. The next slide, the why. Again, the 5-year contract ended this month, or will end at the end of this month. And the industry as a whole has been evolving. There was really only waste management was the only other potential. The ocean folks and Noble were just too small to do the entire town. So we basically had waste management and Casella. And both of those are going automated. No one is doing the rear load anymore. And there's a couple reasons for that. There's cost, and there's cost, and there's cost. Those are the 3 reasons, right? So the single truck, they can just do one drive. It's a bifurcated truck, so the trash goes into one side of the truck and the recycling goes into the other. So they absolutely cut the amount of fuel that is spent in half by doing that, and the number of drivers they have to have in half. Again, it's just a single operator. The rear load trucks have two, the guy inside the driving and the one in the back. So the fella on the back, I say fella, but usually it was a guy, but the person on the back was at the most at risk for injury. That's where all of their liability and workman comp and injury, especially in the winter. And you can imagine hopping on and off that truck. So that's totally eliminated. There is no more rear. And again, this was the only option we had was for automated. In fact, it was the only negotiated option because Waste Management chose not to bid at all, which was good. The next slide. So this is indeed town-wide. There will be no residential weekend collection. So that means that this again was a cost driver. This was a cost thing. The price, if we were to engage Casella to have to drive on the weekend, we were already way over budget, and it just would have put it even more out of reach. So the GRB collection, y'all folks, is going to be on Friday. It'll be on Fridays for all 12 months. They are moving to a 4-day pickup, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now it's only 3 days. They're moving to a 4-day, but it takes a little bit longer because they are collecting both at the same location for recycling and trash. And as far as our beach barrels, if we can make these stickers work and we can keep the trash in the barrel, then they will be picked up daily. They will be picked up on the weekends during the summer. If we can keep the trash inside the pits. If we can't, we'll be looking at having to go to a carry-in, carry-home policy and remove the pits. We're all hoping we don't have to be getting lost. Next, anybody's got a question? Yes.
So will there be 2 barrels at the beach then? Recyclables and trash, or just one?
There will probably, that's an interesting question. I have not heard that question asked. I believe it's just going to be one. You put a recycling out there, people are going to throw trash in it.
One way or the other, I think it would be an issue.
They're going to throw trash in it, and that's, I'm pretty, we've never talked about 2, so no, just one. It'll be a 96 gallon, it'll be a big one, but it'll just be one. The next slide. So again, automated recycling, single operator, materials, everything that we put, both recycling and trash, has to fit into the one bin that we have. We get one for each. So every household will be delivered by the town. The town has purchased them. That was in not this year's budget, but the year before's budget. There was $385,000 to purchase sufficient number of bins for the entire town. Everyone will get 2 64-gallon bins. That's how we're going to start. Our hope is, and what Casella's experience has been, and they've done this in several towns now, is that the 64s are by far the preferred choice for folks. After a month or so, we are going to open a website. This is the plan. I hope I said 2D, but the plan is, well, let's go. I think I'm going to do that. But they are digitally encoded trash containers. They're all serial numbered, if you would. So, and Casella will only pick up those trash bins. So you cannot put your own trash bin out. So it's got to be in these containers. The next slide is, did I hit the end? Did I do it yet?
It's the one before that.
Let's try to back. There we go. So the when is important, and that's going to be in May. So we delayed things to May. We had hoped to do it in September, but the truck is just not going to be available. They still have their truck on order. They're not going to be able to get the truck until probably the November timeframe. And it just didn't make sense for us to be delivering new trash bins to folks in November and December, because so many people are here. And that would have been a nightmare. So Casella's agreed with us to, at our insistence, to put it off until May. So the residential education will begin in April, and then in May we'll be delivering the bins, and this process will begin. Now, getting rid of the old bins, 2 weekends after we have delivered the bins, the intent is to have a 40-yard dumpster up at the Public Works garage. So that's the old dump near Rotary Park. And then folks can bring their old containers and we'll just chuck them in that dumpster and go find a hopefully appropriate, ecologically appropriate way of disposing of them. Nothing changes until May. All the current collection will continue on the schedule that it's on, and it'll be rear load. They'll pick it up just as they do today. Yeah.
Maybe I missed, I'm sorry, maybe I missed it. Currently, or they include somewhere, recycling's every other week.
That I did not add. It'll be weekly.
So you get both weekly.
They get it both weekly. Thank you. That's not on the chart, it should. So that's a plus. So we do get recycling and the trash on a weekly basis, especially for folks that have a lot of cargo. Having recycling, a lot of true with that recycling. Any other? So that's the update. 64 barrels, 64-gallon barrels. After a month or so, our intent is to open a website form where if you wish to have a smaller or a larger bin, we'll try to accommodate you. So we did purchase a limited number of 34-gallon and 96-gallon. So if you find that you can't fit all your recycling in a 64 on a weekly basis, after a lot of recycling, you can go up to a 96. Conversely, if you've got a long driveway or there's logistics in taking a 64-gallon, then you can go down to a 34, which is it's pretty small. And it weighs about the same as the 64, and it has a wider wheelbase. So if I were looking at it, I'd always want a 64. The only complication with that is where you put some. You can see these bins down at the town hall. We've actually got one of each, if you'd like to just get an idea of exactly how big they are. They'll be at all of our town events as well in the fall and the spring. So the recycling committee will have them out there, so you can get an idea of what these sizes are. Yes.
I have a question. If you have a two-family home, when you're getting two, because you have two different families, so what ups?
Yeah. Right now, my understanding it's going to be by residence, by the tax-paying address. But the two families, that's something that we would have to look at. That's an interesting. Yeah. When you say it's a two-family home, tell me more of what you mean.
It is two families.
Are you renting? So you're renting to a family?
It's a two-family home, so there's an A and a B.
Well, that's an A and B. So those are separate residences.
Yeah.
Separate mailing addresses. Yeah, I think those are. Yeah.
But it's one tax.
Yeah, but it's a duplex.
One tax bill. Why you back? Yeah.
It's one tax bill, so they aren't separate residences.
One tax bill, but you can go off all of them. One.
Yeah, it's just kids.
All of that is thing. It's a more than a single family.
Yeah, but I live in duplex too, but we're two different tax bills.
You get,
Yeah, you need to understand more of what that,
Well, I'd be interested.
Yeah.
I live in the city, and the other homes have 2 trash down. You know, if you live in a 2-family home in our town or city, so there's people get 2. They each get,
Yeah, but
they each get 2.
but a two-family home, like I'm in a duplex, we've got an A and a B, but we're totally separate addresses, separate tax bills, separate everything, so that's not what this is.
Not a joint family, and one family on the first floor, family on the second floor. That's side by side.
Would they split the tax bill?
Not the we first known to still person along with, but she.
Well, but that's a rental property.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's a rental property, that's it, okay, we'll see how that goes. That'll be interesting. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, it was one.
And Jeff, don't forget to tell them one of the reasons about the 32s that Casella doesn't want to deal with.
Say it again?
You remember? Go ahead, Dave.
Downside of a 32 gallon.
Yeah, there is a potential downside. The old 32 gallon design would tend to fall in the truck, especially in the winter, which was not too copacetic. So Casella tries to avoid them. There's a new 34 design which supposedly solves that issue. But until we get to winter and see if it really solved it, we're going to try to keep the number of 32s as low as we can. Yeah, John?
How are you gonna handle the cardboard that comes in? How are you gonna handle the cardboard that comes in that won't fit in the bins?
You cut it in.
Not everything comes in small packages anymore. Often you get a big piece. It's rare.
Yeah, no, it's true. And you take a box knife and you cut it up.
Yeah.
I don't know how else you're going to be able to do it.
You have to go into that yourself.
But yeah, you can bring it over to Steve Rowe.
Is this a 5-year contract also?
This is a 5-year contract. Yeah, second.
Now, it's a question.
I just had a comment, so for people can understand size, the current recycling bins are 18 gallons. That's what they are. So to give you an idea.
Yeah.
So 64 is going to be like having 4 bins.
Yeah, basically, guy with 4 bins. Yeah. Jim?
Quickly, speaking to the concern about the beachfront trash collections, which we would love to see stay in place, but we've certainly, from our observation, seen Hawaii in particular was pretty bad in terms of things. My observation walking the beach in the morning was pretty bad, particularly after the weekends, with trash left outside the bays. But these, presumably what we're talking about will be bigger bins, and with the shape I've seen like along the roads in Biddeford, once they've gone to the type of bins they've gone to Canoe about pickup, I assume that's, which looks to me like we will have bins that have the flip top and a bigger opening so that some of the stuff that otherwise gets left, like the old inflated rubber, things that kids, inner tubes and things like that, might be better able to fit in bins this way. Part of the problem with what's left besides the trash bins now are things that nobody could manage to fit into the little foot top trash bins we have. So I'm hoping that will help, because otherwise July looked not great. August has been, to my own observation, a lot better. Maybe fewer people, maybe gradually people got to know what those signs, those clever signs that here's what people actually mean. So that's.
Yes, sir. The hot ticket now, up to the head, picked up out on both sides. No, this guy's little that's going to be some pretty tough work. Small streets, small areas, sound like the tin roof out here. Well, it's gonna, the trash will only be probably on one side. I think we may need to just have it moved over to just the one side of the road for them to pick up. So people
Put everything over on one side of the road.
that's a good probability. Yeah, I think that's basically how it's done with the yeah.
You look valuable.
Yeah.
I liked it, having the big, little side of good. We've been with it,
Yeah. It's, this is no fun. And then please know it wasn't a choice. This is no fun. Yeah.
Is Biddeford using the same size?
Yes, Biddeford uses the same. To my knowledge, they're using Kennebunk is all 64s. And that's what you see when you drive down the roads in Kennebunk. And Biddeford had some, with Biddeford, because they were still using they still had a person have to lift them. Biddeford has the smaller size. They're not as large. And that was because you can't pick up a 64 and throw it into the back of the truck. So what Biddeford did is they had the smaller, as I remember this now, they had the 32s actually, but then if you had extra trash, you had to put it in a bay as you throw back beside your trash can. So Biddeford would pick up for free, I believe this is how it was working. They'll pick up what you can put in a 32. Any more than that, you gotta pay by the bag to get them to remove it.
So if I watch it happen in Biddeford now, those are 32s.
I believe those are probably 32s, but I've
See that a few times?
not positive.
And
But you see in Kennebunk, they're definitely 64s.
And Biddeford does their own trash pickup. That's why they went to the 32s.
Yeah,
They're
they got a guy in the back who's throwing
Yeah,
it in.
yeah.
Okay, any other questions on that? Yeah.
Just a silly question. Where does the trash go?
No, Casella takes it away and it disappears.
Magic.
So marvelous. It just goes. Yeah, they've got a large landfill, and they also have a trash to fuel, so they burn to run a power plant. So it's very similar to what Casella does, or to what EcoMaine does.
And then the recyclings go.
Recycling is their own too. We're no longer going to use EcoMaine, which I'm sad about.
Oh,
I
that's
really
too bad.
was, yeah, I was pretty high, I am pretty high, I suppose. But Casella's got a pretty good reputation. We haven't had a lot of time to study it, because it really, again, it's choice, it's what's going to be sold. But, yeah, but they'll do their own recycling. But, yes.
Will the new trash and recycling containers be picked up physically by a person and thrown in the truck?
No,
Or will
pick-
they be automatically picked up by a machine?
Picked up by a machine. It's a robotic arm that comes off the side of the truck and then lifts it up. And depending on whether it's trash or recycling, the little flap, they do flappy flaps, and it goes into one side or the other.
That's what we have back in New Jersey.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, we have that at our home in New Jersey.
Yeah. And we're gonna need to keep separation to all the barrels so they can get the arms in, and there's a learning curve, but they will help us with that. Yes,
Is there, I didn't hear you say consideration for people in a non-residence who are only here in the summer for distribution. How are they gonna get their receptacles?
but it's not that we're not residents, I mean, but that's why we are distributing them in May. So we're not doing it in November, it was to try to be sure we get as many people that are here.
So if we're not here in May, what happens?
They will be dropped off, and you will be asked to please have someone move them out of harm's way. I mean, you really have no option. They're distributed, there's one thing, they'll go through and distribute the 2 bins. They have a list of all the addresses, and that's how it's part of the contract deal to get them out.
That's where good neighbors come into play.
Yeah,
Will they come to each house?
yes. Yes, it will come to each one.
That's handy, Bob.
Okay, and there'll be a lot more information on this, obviously, as we get into April. So let's move on from, yes,
There's some roads that are not fully public roads, like the Broadway extension. Will they drive up to that house?
they will, wherever Casella goes now, they will continue to go, as long as, they're, for the most part.
So the answer is that when mentioned, they'll go there.
Then they will not go there now. It will have to be carried to
You'll have to put
the
it on
street,
community door or something.
just like they're doing now. Whatever they're doing now, they would have to continue to do that.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So this is changing gears. As you all know, we had one hell of a storm in January. And there's just go to the next slide, just to, remind us of what we saw. This is an area that's Edgewood Proctor, so we're on what we're calling the East Arc. Back in the day when I was growing up, it was the public beach. But obviously, as things progress, the names never really kept up, and so there are. If you look at Goose Rocks from the top, there's kind of three arcs. From Dingy Point to Little River is an eastern arc, and then from Dingy Point, you could say maybe to Shore Rocks is kind of central. And if you take Shore Rocks and sweep around to the Batson, you got the western arc. So if you'll just work with me on those names, the only way I can really work out on what I'm talking about in terms of portions of the beach. But this then is the area that was done in May. We restored some in March of last year. The Kennebunk Forest Conservation Trust paid to have a section of dune restored between Edgewood and Broadway, and you've seen the new dunes. This is what it looked like in September of last year, before the January storms. And we kind of outlined in magenta where the foot of the dune was. This is kind of the newer grass, and then the thicker, more vegetated, denser dune goes on the orange. And this is exactly the same area after the storm. So the next slide shows, this is a shaded relief, so you're just looking at the elevations. And this was that elevation you saw after the storm, and this is what it looked like after we did the replenishment. So you can see that the dune has been largely restored. We took away the cuts. If you put back one for me, because it's kind of fun to see. Proctor had the big cut through the dune. Broadway had a big cut through the dune. Edgewood is an ADA, so it had also a cut at dune level. When you go, see here, when you look at the erosion, you can see what that cut did. You can see what that cut did. It just channels the water and it chews away the dune. So when we did the replenishment, which is the next slide, please, we did not put a cut through the dunes. These are the ramps that you see now when we're walking over the dunes to get down to the beach. And that's the reason why. At Edgewood, we had to keep a cut because it's ADA compliant, but we did it with a zigzag so that when the storm's coming from the southeast, which is our bad direction, the northeast, you've got timber and timber pond, it breaks a lot of the energy, but the southeast just kills us. And so now we've got an extra little barrier there to try to help the water not running down Edgewood Avenue. So in July, we met with some FEMA representatives. The town is looking at, almost $1 million, 800,000 plus of work. You know about Ocean Avenue at Wamby Beach, where that totally washed out. That road needs to be replaced. There were a lot of damage along Ocean Avenue and other parts. There was a significant amount of damage. And we're looking at what's called that's the next slide, what's called a FEMA G. This is all good government talk. But here's the G schedule for categories. And the swimming pools, bathhouses, tennis courts, boat docks, piers, picnic tables, and mass transit. So that's where we're looking to get some FEMA G money to help pay us back for the expense that the towns had and are going to have in repairing those roads. There's also, the next slide, a FEMA B, which is this emergency protection measures. And under this emergency temporary repairs, the next slide, what it allows you to do is it allows you to ask for some FEMA money if, and this is the big or, because here we are, it's a cost-effective manner to eliminate or reduce immediate threats of significant additional damage to and the approved public or private properties. So what's happening there along the east arc, particularly where the homes are not, where it's just straight up to Kings Highway, you get another big storm, it's going to take out that road. So we are in this category to be eligible for money. There's some caveats that we're working to try to meet the hurdle, to get over the bar, but that's our entry into this FEMA dollars. So the next slide, these are the two areas. This area is where KCG did their work earlier, so that's already finished. That was that slide I showed you that they were finished doing. Now we have the areas that are down to the southwest and the area that goes up to the northeast. This is the granite wall, comes around, it's coming off of Little River, you can picture it, and it's granite, and then it wraps in. This is the pool property right here, if you're familiar with them. And then it is it's the beach, and then very open beach, all the way down to where the granite wall starts again, where the homes are at Dingy Point. So if you take the next slide, we'll come in a little closer. These are the properties on the northeast side. So there's Jeffries Way, Kings Highway, the Hayward, you can see where you are. What's in orange is what we determined from the imagery the areas that have been the most severely damaged, they've been washed out. So this is the area we're gonna try to get money to replenish. There are about 20 properties, about 12 properties across here. And then the next slide, this is on the southwest side. Edgewood sits right here, that's where we had put that little S-curve. And now we go down past the tides and wrap it around to where we get to the beginning of the granite wall. So those are the areas that we're looking to replenish. The next slide. So again, we met with the FEMA folks. They said, verily, if you can meet all our other requirements, and that's what we're trying to do, anybody's interested, we're trying to figure out what a normal 5-year storm is, what the surge would be with a normal 5-year storm, and then calculate a run-up that has to do with the square root of the third sigma power over the law of Flynn. And but it's a lot of stuff. But we've got some numbers. We think we can justify it. The question is that they can always say no. It does need some skin, about 10% from the town. That would probably come from our resiliency funding, or hopefully, because it's obviously not in the budget, but we do have some money set aside for climate resiliency that might be able to cover that. Otherwise, there are some contingency funds as well. And then the goal is to try to do this in the fall, before we get to our next big storm. And the next slide, there's just no guarantee, guys. So if you are working with someone now to get numbers to do this in front of your own property, of the area that I showed, please don't stop doing those negotiations. Just try not to sign anything. Because this would, I think 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, we're going to have some idea, a better idea, if we can get this money. But if we cannot get the funding, there's no way we can afford as a town to be able to do this work. So this is our best shot. It's a long shot, but it's the best opportunity we've got. And that's what we're trying to do. I think that's the last slide. Yeah. So I'll entertain any questions. Yes.
Stan, are we talking basically doing the same? Oh, sorry. Are we talking basically doing the same, like pulling up sand, increasing the height of the dunes all the way across, and then doing a bazillion slugs of dune grass?
Exactly the same place. And the good part of that is because the state of Maine requires that you replant the dunes, FEMA will pay for this. So the FEMA money will pay for both. And as the way that we did the KCT properties is that we had a bulldozer, some of you might have seen it on the beach. It took 6 inches of sand. So we took a large area, 6 inches deep, and just moved it up and then distributed it in the shape of a sand dune. It worked really well. I was really, really impressed. And so that's what we've done. We've calculated all the areas we'd have to do. We know that FEMA has a restriction that you can only put as much sand as was there. In other words, you can't build it higher, or 7 cubic yards per linear foot of dunes, which I calculated it all, and we're no bigger than 5.5 cubic yards per linear foot of dunes. So we fit in the window. So that's still due. I mean, everything looks good. The numbers look good. It's just if they believe the numbers I put together. And so the other part too is I've got to get the main DEP has to agree. We've got to get a permit by Rule 16A, which is all we needed for the Kennebunk Trust loan. Because once we get the 16A, then the trust paid for everything, and so it was done. But now I've got to get a 16A for both of those areas and get it through natural resource folks, and then apply to FEMA and get them to do it. So the wheels of the government move slowly. Yeah, 6 weeks is probably optimistic. You know.
Is there anything that residents can do that even those areas?
Spring.
Check it.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Well, thank you. Yes, we will be in touch. As this moves forward, we do need to get just an agreement from folks, from all the different properties that you identify. You don't hold the government responsible if anything happens. It's the typical thing. But government lawyers need to have your approval to do the work. And for the most part, it's not going to get near anybody's property other than folks that might have the dune grass area here. But what's not to like? We can build those dunes. Thank you, yes. So you will be hearing from us if you live in those areas. Yes.
Is this happening at some of the other beaches here in Kennebunk?
I don't know if anybody on the coast here is doing it. Kennebunk, was such a different issue. Their seawall, they're right up against it. Where I fear we're going to be 50 years from now. I don't see how we can not avoid having a solid granite block wall across the entire beach. So between those two areas that have the solid granite block wall now, 50 years from now, that's what's going to be if things keep going the way they're going. And when it does that, it does suck out the sand. That's one of the issues with the solid wall. But the real benefit we have in Kennebunk, those waves come in, they hit the wall, they scour the sand, and the current takes the sand south. And that's why that beach is just going down, 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 down. We are blessed. We are caught in this wonderful that arc series. Our sand never leaves. It just moves east and west, or north and south, or we want to look back and forth between the basins and the lake. And that's why our sand is so beautiful. The reason it is so fine is that it's been worn to blazes over tens of thousands of years. Tens, really. Yeah, 15,000 was the glacier. It's all glacial tilt. All our sand is reworked glacial tilt. But that's true of most of the areas here. There are not big rivers coming in. But our sand stays. It is trapped in a wonderful way between the two rivers. And so when we pull it out, it comes back. You walk the beach today, from the bad storm, the big storm, you walk it 2 weeks from now, you're going to be back. And that's the beauty of our beach. The sand stays. But it doesn't get to the dunes. When the waves are working it, the wave taketh and the wave bringeth back. But it's the wind that takes the sand into the vegetation and builds the dunes. And that takes time. And time is what Mother Nature is not giving us. We don't have enough time between the storms to properly rebuild the dune. That's why we're helping Mom out. And that's what this is all about. God willing. You see. and maybe all wash away. We'll get this done, it'll be gone in February. But, it's just, you take your money and it's your twins. When they come.
Yeah, would it be better to wait till, April, March, just to avoid the winter storm, or?
Well, you avoid it, your peril. I mean, we get another storm and we haven't put this back. We lose Kings Highway. We get a cost, portion in there that gets to be extravagant. So it's always a gamble, but I think, I want that sandbags to be there for the winter.
If you put it back in November or December, we give them time to do the.
Yeah, that's a good question. The planting's going to be kind of fun. I hope they'll let us do that in the spring, because, it's a little tough to plant in the middle of December.
Life having the possibility that literally broke up sand.
Absolutely.
More like we have right now, we got good.
But to be honest with you, if you put those little roots in there in October, it ain't going to have anything to it with anyway.
Right.
So,
Like that diesel.
good step. So keep your fingers crossed for us, guys. And if you hear from us, please send that email with a big yes and smiley face, so we have all of the permissions that we need to put into the coast. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for all your hard work and already stepping back at us. That's it for tonight. Thank you all for coming.